Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I'm your host Mavri, currently rewatching BanG Season 1. We are now on episode 10 and this is a direct continuation of episode 9 since I want to hurry up and get these episodes out. So we'll continue talking about basically the arc where Kasumi lost her voice here. So anyways, let's just jump right into it and begin in 3, 2, 1, play.
やりきったと思うものはダメだ。うちのステージに立たせるわけにはいかないね。また受けます。いっぱい練習して何回でも挑戦します。頑張りな。はい。オーナー、スケジュール表を見たんですけど、花園にはまだ行ってなかったね。スペースを占めるよ。どうしてですか？
Now I'm really, I haven't really talked about this, but I wonder what's gonna happen in season 2. Like, is it going to be a new Lifehouse? Are they going to ditch the Lifehouse? I'm not even sure if they're going to continue with the game story. Let me skip this first. And back. As I was saying, I'm not even sure if they're going to... Oh, holy crap. I don't remember this. I don't remember this scene. Speaking of which, actually, I think this is like the episode I have the least memories of. I think I mostly skipped this episode during my prior rewatches. And as I was saying, anyways, I'm not even sure if in season 2 they're going to continue the story, telling the story that happened in the game, or are they going to make some original stories? Realistically, there's some things that just can't be done, even if you work your ass off. That's stupid. That is actually really stupid, to be honest. Thankfully, the owner has some sense. That is true. Like, you can be the best shredder in the world, and you're going to get audiences that way, but there's more to a show than just technique.
し、ドラムは余裕がない。キーボードとギターは勢いでごまかしてる。やりきったかい？
Hey, that's the difference, right? The connection. I don't know if there's a word in English to describe it. Like, all being on the same page? It's a little bit more romantic than just that, though.
私たちとどう違ったんだろう。ちゃんと返事できたから？曲が良かったから？
To be fair, they were a longer band than you guys.
なんでここにひなちゃんを求めるところにひなちゃんあり。そういう存在にひなちゃんはなりたい。なりたいんだ。求めてないんですけど。いいのかいお嬢さんよ。せっかくオーディションに受かるコツを教えてあげようと思ったのによ。デートしてくれたら教える。はあ？
Go. Just go.
私、はいはい、私も行く。それもうデートでもなんでもね。やめて、ひなちゃんをめぐって争うのはやめて。うぜえ、全員うぜえ。ひな、後輩見つけるたびに絡みに行くなって。いいちゃん、マジジェラシスト。マジェラ。ごめんね、マジで。何かされた？まだ大丈夫です。お姉ちゃんたちも見に来たの？うん、私たちにとっても刺激になるから。オビパのオーディションも見てたぞ。そうだったんだ。残念だったな。何がダメだったんでしょうか？私たちに足りないものって受かるコツって？まあデートは今度ってことにして、一つヒント。一生懸命考えること。考える？ひなこにしてはまともなこと言ったかな。
That was no advice at all.
ノジェラ、お姉ちゃん。音楽の正解はないよ。答えなんてみんな違う。ただいま。おかえり。すぐご飯できるよ。アスカも呼んできて。はーい。
The beginning of her slump, in a sense.
ない。おかわり？何ずっとぼーっとしてんの？考え事。姉ちゃんが考え事？何考えてるの？一生懸命考える。
Yeah, I really don't have much recollection of this episode at all.
何回見るつもり？もうちょっと。
Hey.
じゃあ、
Now they translate it to Papa? Man.
よし。
頑張ろう。 I seriously don't think this scene makes much sense.
練習なら家でやんな。やっぱりここでライブしたいです。キラキラドキドキしたいだけじゃなくて、スペースが好きだから。バイトして思ったんです。みんなが大好きで、オーナーも大好きなこの場所が大好きだって。だったら納得いく演奏を見せてみな。絶対やります。あんた全然変わんないね。え？前に聞いた時もそうだった。練習いっぱいしたし、失敗はしたけど楽しかったので。そういうところだけは褒めてやるよ。けど何にも見えてない。周りも自分も。え？もう帰んな。オーナー、どういうことですか？
You know, that was a pretty big hint already.
あんたが一番できてなかった。
I think a better translation here would be, you were the most lacking. Although I guess it could work in either sense.
いただきます。おばあちゃん、おかわりもう一杯いいですか？はいはい。すげえ食べんな。朝練頑張ったご褒美。朝練？うん。朝の公園涼しかったよ。はい、どうぞ。やったー。ああ。そこ苦手？苦手。一緒にやろう。ちょっと休めば？大丈夫。どうした？やっちゃった。マジか。救急箱上だわ。あ、私も行く。ほら、ありがとう。かすみってさ、いつも楽しそうだよな。うん、もっともっと頑張んなきゃ。頑張るのってしんどくない？え？わかんない。どんだけやれば満足できんの？完璧な演奏ができたら？スペースでライブできたら？オーディションのために頑張るって、もうそれ楽しいとは違うんじゃねって思うんだけど。違う？アリサ、楽しくないの？ポピパ。え？いや、楽しくないの？違う、楽しいけど。イエーイ。みんなでバンドやるの楽しいから、練習も楽しいし、スペースでライブやったら楽しいよ。絶対。いいから絆創膏貼れ。忘れてた。
She just needs some Kasumi sunshine.
ま、騙されたと思ってやってみるか。はい。オーディション受けるからには受かるから。頑張ろう。やべえな。ただいま。おかえり。ごめんね、クリームあんみつなかった。代わりにハンバーグ買ってきたよ。がっつりだな。ちゃんとアリサが好きそうな和菓子買ってきてるから。おお、なんだ？
To Kasumi's credit, it's a miracle that she didn't just completely
ドーン。重いんだけど。元気？
fall apart the next day.
見りゃわかるでしょ。何？暑い。
She just wants to rest for it.
甘いのいっぱい。どうしよう。あんま食べると太るぞ。走れば大丈夫。だって。おお。練習しよう。早く合わせたい。パンいいの？どれがいい？メロンパン。おたえ、その指。あ、昨日ずっと練習してたから。やべえな。でも負けない。足りないもの考え始めたらいっぱいあって。練習しても練習してもゴールってないのかなって。でも練習する。100回やってダメなら101回。それでもダメなら1000回。もう大丈夫って思えるまでやろうって。私も失敗したらどうしようってオーディションはしたばかり見てた。それじゃダメだよね。聞いてくれる人に楽しいなって思ってほしいから。私も楽しく弾けるまでいっぱい練習したい。
Yeah, that's a good attitude to have.
私は正直どっちでもよかったよ。あ、スペースは好きだけどできたらいいなくらいの気持ちだった。今は本気で出たいと思ってる。夏たちと同じステージにみんなと立ちたい。やろかすみ。今よりももっと熱く。そうだね。もっと頑張らなきゃだよ。私も。じゃあやるか。
Aww. This is also a part that I was kind of confused of in the first watching. Because I was thinking, so everybody's on the same page now. Isn't that a good thing? Why are you instead having some problems? But then I kind of realized, everybody else in the past it was just Kasumi wanting to do it herself, right? She wanted that. But now that everybody has the expectation of practicing hard and passing the audition, in a sense this means that the pressure is mounting to her as well. So she has a bigger pressure to perform well. I like the subtle difference here, right? How Kasumi, who's usually always in the lead, is instead now in the back. And how they show her, a little bit off from the other members, sitting by herself. They do put a lot of good, subtle hints in there. Look at that. And this BGM. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The BGM for this anime is top tier, as you would expect from a music anime. But not just the music itself, the BGM as well. all the foreshadowing up to that moment. And that was episode 10, and Kasumi has lost her voice. So, it's actually pretty fun rewatching these series, especially like I've mentioned numerous times already. Episode 10 is I sort of always skip over it when I do rewatch this series, and I've rewatched Bang Dream Season 1 for, I don't know, it's at least 3 times already, and this is my maybe 4th time viewing it. But I always skip episode 10, and really, rewatching it, you notice a lot of details or stuff that you don't notice during your first viewing. For instance, how they made Kasumi gradually fall, spiral into this, I guess, depressed state, you could say, and also a lot of, you know, showing her be more calm, being more reserved, being more down, even though, in public, in front of her friends, she's still the same old Kasumi, right? She's the Genki girl, always jumping around, and really, even after she was reprimanded by the owner, she's still, the next day, still her cheerful self, except that, deep down, she was starting to really feel it, right? Really feel the pressure building up, really feel the hopelessness, I guess you could say. And actually, I just noticed that there was a double entendre during the scene with Kasumi and her sister, Achan. So, if you recall, she mentioned that Achan was cold, right? After her sister said that it was hot with Kasumi, hugging her. And then I guess normally you would think that it would mean cold as in her body is cold, but then I just realized that actually, specifically with the Japanese that she used there, it could also mean that she was giving her the cold shoulder, right? So, especially at that point, that was a time where Kasumi obviously wanted some mental support, right? The pressure was piling up on her and she was about to break down, so she wanted some mental support from her sister, just have a break, relax, and so on and so forth. So, again, something that I wouldn't really have noticed if I hadn't rewatched this episode. And also another thing that I guess I could work out on this rewatch is why the owner allowed them to audition, even though it was pretty clear that something was up and Kasumi wasn't being her normal self, right? Well, I guess this ties back into a little bit on how, I guess if you break it down, the owner is actually being kind to them. Like, if you think about it, within this episode, all the other Poppypa members have worked out their own problems, right? They weren't giving it all. That's correct. But now, by exploring themselves, digging deeper, they find, yeah, this is something that they want to do, so they are willing to give it all for this audition and to eventually perform at Space. So, theoretically, they've already passed the, I guess, the preliminary condition, right? So definitely if somebody asked them right now, if the owner asked them right now if they have gave their all, probably they would all say yes, actually. But even so, the owner deliberately allowing them to come and have an audition was her trying to point out to Kasumi, it's not just a matter of your performance skills, it's also your leadership skills and how Poppypa actually needs to be as one, as one in their thoughts, their actions, the way they think, and they need to care for and communicate with each other, basically. So that is how they would grow into a good band in the future. So in a sense, you could say that the owner is really being kind to them by, I guess it's a tough kind of love, right? But it's still being kind to them by pointing out their problems during the preliminary stages. So yeah, that's what I mostly get from this episode. I do have some minor complaint though, and that is, I feel like I would have enjoyed it much more if they would have given more time to each of the members and maybe go through how they each resolved their problems and arrived at the conclusion that this is something that they want to do. I feel like it's way too rushed, right? Basically, four of them were got their bearings straight within half an episode, right? And the remaining time, we're only going to be talking about Kasumi. So I would have liked it a little bit more if they touched on the other characters. But hopefully, this kind of character development is something that will happen in season 2. So, anyways, that's it for this episode. I'm going to jump right into the next one. Stay tuned.